Miami, and even better to be here to help honor and celebrate Felix Rodríguez. When Felix was born way back in 1941, Cuba was actually a strategic ally of the United States during World War II. It was a young nation. There was a great culture, pride, and really a lot of promise. And probably few at that time could possibly imagine the nightmare that would befell the island with the rise of the tyrannical regime of Fidel Castro to power in the late 1950s. But that did not deter Felix and others like him for fighting for freedom. When the communist government took control of Cuba and stole his family's home, Felix joined many exiles in Miami, but he started immediately looking for ways to help bring freedom back to Cuba and to liberate the island from the clutches of the communists. So he joined a group of Cuban exiles in Guatemala to receive training from the CIA. They were, as many of you know, known as Brigade 2506, the brigade that would later carry out the Bay of Pigs invasion. As a paramilitary operations officer with the CIA Special Activities Division, Felix was smuggled back into Cuba to gather intelligence and use his familiarity with the country to plan and prepare for the invasion. Now, unfortunately, the brave fighters in Brigade 2506 did not get the full backing of the United States when it came to crunch time. And if they had, we may have had a much different outcome. But we will never forget their service and the thousands of Brigade 2506 soldiers who paid the ultimate sacrifice in that fight for liberation. That was not, though, the end of Felix's desire a few months ago, and obviously Coach Bowden recently passed away. And Coach Bowden really was one of a kind, and when it came to football and the leadership and all that, he really left a huge mark. Well, what Bobby Bowden was to football, Felix Rodríguez is to the cause of freedom, and so it's my honor to present, for only the second person to receive this award since it's been established, the Florida Medal of Freedom for Felix Rodríguez. Who are going to be able to come up and speak. You're going to hear at the end from Lieutenant Colonel Archie Kelly. You're going to hear in a minute from Juan Chartier, Steve Bobo, our Lieutenant Governor Jeanette Nunez, and our Chairman of the County Commission, Pepe Diaz. So Juan, are you here? Are you ready to come up and speak? The floor is yours.
First, I want to say, see these people? 110? These guys died on the beach or were shot down. That's why we're here. And he was there, along with my father, along with Stevie Bobo's father, Pepe Casio, Blanquito. Sir, I know you. You were there. So thank you. Javier Soto. Thank you for coming. So I've known Felix for 30 years through my father. They were like brothers. They used to be called hermanos. And through that, I've been able to help Felix out. I'm a lawyer in D.C., so he appointed me 30 years ago when I was a young guy, legal advisor to the brigade. And now I'm legal advisor to the museum. And because of that, I've been involved with many interesting journeys with him. We were at the CIA headquarters in 2007 with your father, Senator Rubio, Felix and I, and we ran into the president of Guatemala. Felix had been, and your father had been working 2 years to get that B-26 that's out there from Guatemala. And all of a sudden, we were walking in the CIA for a briefing. To the right, we go, that's President Jimmy Morales. Senator? Felix goes, vamos, vamos, vamos. They go, they attack the president of Guatemala. They surround him, like, what's this? Felix Rodríguez, Senator, blah, blah, blah. Took 2 years of through the efforts of this guy, Senator Rubio's office, MP 26 is here. Cuban time or American time? One more story. So we're at the CIA on another occasion, and we're being briefed by Pompeo, head of the CIA, about Cuba and what the Trump administration is going to do. And then we have lunch with the head of the Latin American division. And by the way, a representative of the CIA is here who hosted us. Her grandfather was also in the brigade. She flew up this morning, Carolina Blanco. And the head of the Latin American division comes and brings a copy of the Cuba, October 17th. October 9th, he's got a photographic memory. 67. La Higuera, Bolivia, to station chief. Captured Che. Captured Juanito. Captured Manguito, two of his buddies. Interrogated him for 2 hours. Got lots of stuff. Che executed 10:45 a.m. Felix, boom, that was it. And that's in the CIA museum. And they show it to everybody on how an operative in the field should send a message.
Things that Felix throughout his life was doing for the love of country. I'm going to speak about something a little differently. I'm going to speak perhaps something more the way I know Felix, which was a brother to my father, a brother to many of the men that have helped build this museum, a man who was motivated by the love of freedom and democracy. Because I don't think there's any other way of explaining how could you basically go world hopping, chasing communists to make sure that that disease can't grow roots. So whether it was Nicaragua or Venezuela or how many perhaps classified places that Felix had to go to, it was always motivated by a love of family. And I know it well, the sacrifices that Rosita, Felix, without having to grow up near you, I understand exactly the sacrifices throughout life when your dad was leaving for a cause that was so big that no one could understand or comprehend. But it was the cause of freedom. And I think he fulfilled his mission well. Your dad was a good friend. My father loved Felix like his brother. They argued like brothers, but he loved Felix like his brother. And this museum that we have here today is a testament to them, both of them and others, who have worked tirelessly to see a tank parked outside, Brothers to the Rescue plane parked outside. You heard the story about the Guatemalan plane. But I have another story about that trip. When we went to the CIA, and as you check in and you're going into a place that you need to get naked to walk into, to be perfectly honest with you. And Governor, here we walked in, we're going through the halls there, and they're showing us a museum that no one is allowed to take pictures in, and in a museum that no one's allowed to know it even exists. So kind of like a Men in Black situation. Once you go in, they're going to zap you, and you're never going to be able to talk about it again. And I'm with Senator Marco Rubio. Now, if you hang out with Senator Rubio in some of these places, it's kind of like a rock star kind of thing with him, people wanting to take pictures, except in the CIA building. As we walk through the building, everyone's gyrating to Felix, to talk to Felix, take a picture with Felix, and you start getting an understanding that his life was a little extraordinary. But it was only a confirmation of another trip that I took, a trip that I took with Felix to Guantanamo Bay. Willie was there, former Mayor of Rowaina was there also. Rene Garcia, back then a state representative, was on